Good evening, everyone, from the Vinewood Bowl here in Los Santos, San Andreas. I'm Bex Lawson here with Shout News. We are co hosting this debate with Weasel News, and I believe we have Useless News in attendance here to ensure that no matter how the debate goes, you will be able to learn more about each of your prospective state representatives. So welcome to this special election debate. This is the third special election in state history. For this event, we have all 5 candidates in attendance, so they will be able to speak on their own values, and you'll be able to hear it straight from the horse's mouth. From left to right, we have Conrad Knives, Joseph Dracul, Jack Burton, Adam Wrangler, and Tommy Legend. Before we begin, I just want to take a moment to thank our security at Citadel Security, as well as any law enforcement assisting with the safety of the premises tonight. We very much appreciate your time and making sure the event stays safe and cordial. I also want to thank the Hanging Gardens for providing catering for the event. If you are at all hungry or thirsty and need to top off, make sure you go speak with Mr. Jack Callow and avail yourselves of the delicious menu of the Hanging Garden. All candidates will be asked questions. Questions will be directed to the candidate. Each candidate will have the chance to answer the same question, and they will have roughly 90 seconds to respond to that question. If you go over your 90 seconds, you'll hear that buzzer, and we will be moving on. Following the question, we will open the floor for 3 minutes of debate among the candidates. This is something where if everyone agrees, we will be able to move on. But if there are any disturbances in philosophy, we can sort that out there in the open forum. After a few direct questions that have been chosen by the media outlets in attendance tonight, we will open the floor for some public questions. We ask that the guests for tonight remain quiet. Please whisper to your seatmates and do not clap or boo for any candidate. We want to make sure everyone can hear what they have to say and that everyone's voice is heard. The questions from this debate have not been shared with any candidate, and you will be hearing their thoughts straight from the top of their heads. Without any further ado, we will begin the debate. Each candidate will be able to introduce themselves to the public. We will start left to right with Mr. Conrad Knives.
Hi, I'm Conrad Knives. I am, I guess, most known as being sort of a rock star. At least that's what people call me. I'm just a guy with a guitar and a voice. I have decided to run for state representative position for police accountability and reform. Would love to explain more about that as well, but we'll get into it.
Mr. Dracul.
My name is Joseph Dracul. I am also here on police reform. I have been a citizen of LS for a while now. I have seen our city go up and down. I do DJ on the side here, but for the most part, I'm just a simple family man that just doesn't see the reason for all the bickering, and I'm here to make sure that we get what we need and serve the citizens the right way.
Thank you. Mr. Wrangler.
Well, my name's Adam Wrangler. Oh, hello.
Apparently I'm invisible.
Oh, I apologize. Mr. Burton, please.
It's the ginger.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. All right. Hello and good evening, all. My name is Jack Burton. Some of you know me. Some may only know me by name or from the recent Shout News article. But let's be honest here. I do not carry the same public persona as some of my colleagues up here on the stage today. What I do have, though, is I am someone who is an active participant behind the scenes. I may have been a salesman for you in the past, or an attorney aiding you down in the cells or in the courtroom. And as of late, I function as the assistant for the state representative, Miss Emily Paxton. Today, though, I'm choosing to step forward with not with promises that I can make to you today and then not be able to fulfill later, but more so, I want to propose a more realistic approach where, if elected, I'm going to swear to listen to what your issues are, and I will do my best to address each of them with the other established legislators. Thank you.
Thank you again, and apologies. Mr. Wrangler, please.
Hi, yes, I'm Adam Wrangler, and I'm running for a few different reasons. I'm a big proponent of business growth and development, and making sure you people out there can get the best state you can have to prosper in your business. Also, I'm a big proponent of animal rights, and I don't know if this is something reasonably accomplished, but I would love to help with police oversight and accountability.
Thank you. Mr. Legend.
Greetings. Some of y'all may know me, some of y'all probably don't. My name's Tommy Legend. I've been a citizen of San Andreas for the last 2.5 years. Moved here from Vegas, as stated in my profile. I'm here today because of recent incidents and my recent involvement with the park rangers in helping establish legislature regarding our environmental protections. But that's not the main course of why I'm here. I'm here today because honestly, I feel that we are becoming more and more of a police state, and I aim to help crack down on that.
Okay, thank you to everyone for your introductions. We will get right into the meat of the debate questions. I will be starting for this question with candidate Conrad Knives. He will have 90 seconds to answer the question, at which point each successive candidate will also be given the opportunity to answer the question. To begin, Mr. Knives, what is your opinion on the economic prosperity of the state? Do you think people are reliably able to get and keep productive jobs?
Wow, we're jumping into the big questions. Honestly, I believe anyone can easily get a job, but I think we could do more to reward businesses who are reliably open and providing their service to the state. Those bonuses could possibly be transferred down to the employees, which could then employ a sort of like loyalty and boost the economic prosperity that way. I also would like to look into introducing commercial licenses for hunting and fishing, which would allow for a new industry of a large-scale meat and fish distribution. We already do have a good foundation for jobs, finances in the state, but I would really want to work with Dockel and the many successful current businesses who are already doing a really good job as it is. So,
all right, thank you very much. Candidate Dracul, your answer.
I see our economic prosperity in two ways. In one way, are we growing? Yes. But in another way, we're also taking 2 steps backwards. And I say this for multiple reasons, one being lack of businesses actually being open. And this might just be due to them not having the staff to open up anymore. And just lack of interest to those that are actually... Sorry about that. That are actually there. If there were more established ways to, give perks out to people, then I think we could boost our economy that way.
Thank you very much. Candidate Burton?
Yes. I know with some of the jobs here in the state, we can look at trash collection and towing, as well as some of the other more publicly accessible jobs. I do think there may be some added benefits that could help bolster the economy as well as the paychecks of the average citizen. But with Dockel's recent announcement, I believe it was at the town hall, they have been pushing through a lot of new businesses, more on the way, currently being reviewed. These businesses are going to need jobs. I think establishing either more job fairs, maybe a jobs board, something to where employers who are actively trying to hire can get their message out there a bit better, get people employed. Once the people are employed, they're making money, they're going to be spending money.
Thank you. Candidate Wrangler?
Hi, yes. As business owner in the state and also investor and manager in several other businesses in the past, I see a lot of the problem is not only hiring people, but employee retention. In some of the places where I was a manager, I feel that some of the workers feel sometimes underrepresented. And I feel like we need a big old union drive for the state to make sure, employees get what they need out of a business. Businesses can, help retain happier and healthier employees. That said, I don't think a lot of the problem lies in, the state granting, incentives, financial incentives, but I believe it lies in, community and helping, your fellow business grow.
Thank you. Candidate Legend.
Yes, thank you. Honestly, I am in almost complete agreement with Candidate Knives. The only thing that I would add to that is I believe that there can be steps made towards improving the working conditions and availability of more common blue-collar jobs, such as the lumber mill, the mine workers, hunters, fishers, and whatnot. And I would like to see what I can do to add to that.
All right. Thank you very much. With that in mind, we are going to open the floor for debate among the candidates for 3 minutes. That will begin now, and we will go until the 3 minutes elapse. Or if there is no further conversation, we can just move on to the next question.
I'm personally good.
I'm good.
I did have one comment. I do think it's very forward thinking of Mr. Wrangler here to propose the idea of unionization. But the only thing I would say is I think improving employee conditions, it starts with management. It starts with ownership. Setting up a union is great, but I think if you hit that first checkbox and management and ownership are stepping up to do something to better them, or at least be a part of that conversation to help get that going, I think that's a great path forward.
Well, if there's no further
I have a rebuttal to that comment.
Oh, please, of course.
Okay. Yes. While it is up to the managers and, management owners department to, make sure their employees, meet certain, safety and, security in their job, I believe oversight of that helps, whether it be, employees' rights laws or, unionization, at least to hold something accountable.
I would agree.
I would agree, but I do not think adding a union into the city would be a good idea. There could be ways we can implement things to assist the employees, whether that be through bills or if that's utilized through the business themselves. I do not think that a union would be the best course here in this city. So I'm having to agree with Jack here in saying it might be overzealous to do that.
Well, just for the sake of correction, and I do thank you for partially agreeing with me, I think the idea of unionization is good. I do. But I still think it needs to start from somewhere else first. I think ownership and management of a business are the front line of improving an employee's existence within whatever business they are working. From there, that is when you can go ahead and step it up, either if something is lacking or if something has not been taken care of and it needs to be taken that step further. And that is not an attack on Mr. Wrangler. I am sure he is a very good businessman and treats his employees well. I am talking on the whole for every business here within the state. If there are any issues with an employee, there needs to be help. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That is the end of our 3 minutes. We will be moving on to the next question. This time we will be asking right to left. So this has been a special election, which means it's not quite as long as a standard election. But while out and campaigning so far, while speaking with the public, what issues have been raised? While speaking with people in the populace, do you feel like you're able to help with their concerns? And if so, what are their concerns and your plan of action? We will start with candidate Wrangler and 90 seconds on the clock.
Oh, wait.
Oh, sorry,
Wait, that'd be
Legend.
Tommy.
Yes, I apologize.
I get it. I'm hard to see behind this podium.
There's not even a gender.
No, just a man in a wheelchair. So, yeah, I have been spending quite a bit of time in this campaign so far, going person to person. It's been a big strategy of mine, and I would say first and foremost, the problems and issues that I've been hearing from the public have indeed been about the hot topic at this debate coming up, is basically police overreach, police over-aggression, and the likes. Pretty much that's all I've been hearing, is nothing about anything but the police. So with that being said, if I make it into office, I do intend to work on issuing legislation that improves transparency, and whatever I can do to essentially put the brakes on what again is becoming solely a police state in a lot of people's eyes.
Thank you. Candidate Wrangler.
Hi, yes, I've been going around town asking some people, what is actually bugging them this time. I've asked it over time, and for the past several elections, the uptrending thing is again police accountability and oversight. This new rising issue of this checkpoint law apparently has been on a lot of people's minds. I've recently had the chance to see the overview of it, but I haven't checked in on the status of that. But that to me seems like a big step towards an actual police state, unlike some of the other things in the past, which definitely needed to be corrected. But yeah.
All right, thank you. Candidate Burton.
All right. Well, since it seems like we're playing hot potato with the subject, it is police accountability and transparency. To address what Mr. Wrangler here was just saying, HR 320, the Checkpoint Act 2024, in case anyone here is not made aware, there was enough disruptance about it. It's actually been withdrawn for the moment, which is probably a good thing. It needs a lot of rework. There's a lot of vagueness and broadness to it. But with the concerns of the people right now, it boils down to the same topic that's been brought up at every race, for either it's a legislator or it is someone running for governor. People want more accountability. They want police transparency. And so far, it's been an nearly unachievable task. I don't know if any of us up here are going to be able to change that, but we're going to try. It's about finding the right topic, the right approach to try and find something that members of law enforcement can latch onto, and they feel that it is fair. What that is, though, I cannot say. That is a broader topic. More conversations need to be had with the citizens to figure out what can be done.
Thank you very much. Candidate Dracul.
I think Jack Byrne actually kind of summed it up really well here. The only thing I'm going to add on to that is that the only way we can correct a police state is to actually take action. Like many of us up here, we've seen it, we've heard it, may have even been close calls of said pursuits or accidents. And it's about time that we make them accountable for what they're doing and their actions that they're taking, not only on the streets, but maybe behind the scenes in the offices and in the cells and in the courtrooms, we have to hold everybody accountable, whether it's civilians, whether it's government workers, or whether it's the police themselves. But without communication between all sides, nothing's going to change. And for me, that's what I'm looking to actually change, is actually making that stepping ground where everybody's talking on a more calmer basis and actually getting something done instead of just looking at it and pointing and going, well, you're doing this, let's correct it, and then nothing happening. So at the end of the day, communication is what it is.
All right, I apologize. You are out of time.
Nope, you're good.
We will be moving on to candidate Knives.
Sorry, can you just ask the question one more time for me? We just gone to.
Yes, of
so many
course.
people.
While speaking with the public, what issues have been raised, and do you feel like as a legislator you would be able to help with those concerns?
Okay, so, here's the thing. I'm not a politician, but I do know that the public has started to scoff at anyone who claims that they will look into a police accountability. And to be honest, I was one of those people. I personally feel like candidates in the past have used this platform to try to basically to secure easy votes, and they didn't actually try and do the job they claimed that they were going to do. So I believe police accountability reform will be difficult, as Jack has said. I believe it is going to be very hard, and I believe that others just gave up. So I promise you, I will not give up. Every citizen of this state has a different concern, and regardless of the platform that we choose to run on, we have to continue to listen to the ever-changing needs of our citizens. I will be able to help because I will keep listening once I'm elected, and I will do everything to enact change that is for the betterment of these people.
All right, thank you very much for that answer. We will now open the floor for 3 minutes of debate among the candidates, which will begin now.
Actually, I got something for Jack. You're currently
Yes,
the
sir.
state rep's assistant this Congress, right?
That is correct, sir.
Can you explain why we haven't seen your name on any legislation this term regarding police accountability reform, and why you are only now bringing up the topic?
Well, I bring up the topic now because that is the topic, that is the question. Everyone here knows that this year was going to be a talking point. And I can tell you right now, State Rep Paxton actually has a bill that is hopefully going to assist with some accountability when it comes to charges being laid out. But let's be fair. This was addressed by Governor Keys and then Lieutenant Governor Gracie. They've tried to push some things through. They tried to get some legislation on the table. Things have not worked. We've tried approaching it from IA. The legislators have not been able to gain any ground on that as of yet. Police ID. Joanna Poole has been trying to work on that, and I'm hoping she's gaining some ground. It is an ongoing topic that has been over multiple elections now, and still nothing has been done. It's going to be a continued thing that needs to be worked on.
So Candidate Burton, with all due respect, you just mentioned a bunch of things that other state representatives have done. I'm asking why we have not seen your name on anything regarding the topic.
To be fair, I've been an attorney. I've been the one down in the cells defending people. I even opened up with my statement. I am someone who has been behind the scenes. I've never really put myself forward. The most you may have seen me is you may have seen me in a courtroom. But as a assistant here to Ms. Paxton, I am seeing more and more of what is going on beyond what I see from a political poll or from an article. I have a unique insight now within my position, and I think that helps with trying to guide me in what approach I can take versus the failed approaches that have been taken in the past.
Gotcha. So you don't have a reasoning for why your name is up and on anything? And just okay.
No, I
all
feel
right.
like I answered that, but
I feel like you didn't, but that's okay. We can move on.
okay.
Yeah, there hasn't been a lot done, and I've been involved in a lot of elections as of late. I feel like if the people are underrepresented with this too, you know, they have their Bill of Rights, First Amendment, and you know, with the First Amendment never works, the Second Amendment.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. We are out of time for this debate portion. I am sure we will have the chance to return to this topic throughout the debate. Thank you for all of your thoughtful answers. Just for the record, regarding police identification, we did report through Shout News that police now are required in their SOPs to identify themselves. So that is a recent change.
Yes.
Fantastic.
About time.
Moving on to our next question, and we will be going left to right, starting with candidate Knives. How has your personal life experience shaped you to be appropriate for the state representative role? And what makes you the ideal candidate for the job, besides the 4 other people standing on this stage?
Well, so life on the road as a rock star has taught me a lot about connecting with people from all walks of life. I've traveled to different areas of the world. I've met quite a bit of fans, and I've heard their stories, and it's given me quite a unique perspective on needs of the people. I've seen struggles and triumphs that people have faced, so I personally believe that being a state representative is a little more than just the politics. It's about being a voice for the people. And I believe that my ability to connect with people and my genuine desire to make a positive impact makes me the ideal candidate for this job. And I think together we can create a harmonious future where everyone's voice is heard.
Thank you. Candidate Dracul.
Like I had stated in the beginning, I'm a family man, I'm humble. I've been through the system. I've served my time. Do I regret it? Yeah. Do I wear that as a badge of honor that I've been through it? Yeah, it's a learning curve, you learn. And all this, everything that we do is a learning lesson. And if we can't learn from it, then we really shouldn't be attempting to learn. At the end of the day, I know a lot of my fellow debaters up here and Representative featurettes. We've all had some time other than Jack that we've spent, potentially inside, the system. We've all seen how the police have handled us, and we've all have dealt with it accordingly. So with that, with me, I just look at it as a opportunity to try to help those that are in need and those that are in similar conditions that I've been put into, and try to make a difference to them. I can't guarantee I will, but I will make an attempt to do so.
Thank you. Candidate Burton.
Yes. I feel that with my background as an attorney, once with the public defender's office and then going into private law firm over at Paxton and Paxton, I've had a unique perspective. I don't think there's anything more intimate than discussing charges with someone, what led them to be behind bars, how they were treated. Doing a cell call is difficult at best. Emotions are high, but you get a lot out of people. They tell you their worries, their concerns, the things that bother them. If something is going to go to trial, there's a lot of intimacy that comes with sitting down and talking through their case, trying to develop a bigger picture as opposed to what may just be put down on a docket. I've been doing this for a year and a half. Sure, I've had a little bit of downtime here and there, but no, I've met a lot of people. I've heard their concerns. It's part of my job as an attorney. I have to sit there and I have to listen to them. I have to be that the voice for them if they can't properly handle it themselves. So I've been able to do that. I yield my time.
Thank you. Candidate Wrangler.
Can you repeat the question just so I can have a full understanding?
Yes, of course. How has your personal life experience shaped you to be appropriate for the state representative role? What makes you the ideal candidate for the job above your competition?
I think the same reason I'm an ideal candidate is the same reason I'm not as eligible for this job as some others. I have let's just say a bit of a wild past, and a big issue currently is, with the whole police accountability. Well, I mean, if you've seen my record, you know how I handle police, and I could be pretty tough with it when it comes down to the time with it. I know how to get things done. I mean, I've grown businesses. The North went from a small place, couple of small businesses bringing in, a couple $100,000 a year to, last year bringing in over $10 million of revenue to the community. Yeah, I'll be the right choice, but maybe not even the correct one.
Thank you. And Candidate Legend, your response.
So, for those of you that know me, and for those of you that don't, I've never been a saint. I have always stuck through with anything that I've set my mind to 100%. And sometimes that hasn't exactly led me to the best of choices, but at the time, they were the right choices. I got done what I needed to get done, and I intend to bring that to my run as a representative, is the idea that things need to get done, and I will see them through thick and thin. I personally have a vested stake in this to see that essentially what has happened to me in the past doesn't happen to the citizens of San Andreas going forward.
Thank you. We will open the floor here for 3 minutes of debate, but since this is a less contentious issue, we may just move on unless anyone has a question for another candidate.
I have a question for candidate Jakal. You said you regretted your time, or what you did?
Yes, I regret what I've done. Yes, I don't like what I've done, but do I wear it as a badge of honor? Yes.
Okay.
It was during a bad time mentally, and I made a very poor decision, and I've had to live with the consequences from it. So, yeah. I do regret doing it.
Okay. I was just asking because you said everything is a learning experience, and not everyone regrets their learning experiences.
No, and that's fair. That is fair. This learning opportunity was not my brightest moment, and that's why I regret it. So.
Okay, if there are no other questions, we can move on to the next question. This time we will be going, I believe, right to left, so this will start with Candidate Legend. You've spoken today about the goals that you hope to achieve if you are in office. How do you intend to pursue those goals in the case that you lose this special election?
If I happen to lose this special election, I intend to essentially work with as best I can with whoever is elected, and continue working with the legislator and legislation in as a whole in whatever capacity that I can, even as just a standard citizen. Whether that be attending town halls, having sit downs with them, anything that I can do to help push the voice of the citizenry, whether it be my own or people that approach me as somebody who's ran and is interested in the state of our government.
Thank you for that answer. Candidate Wrangler,
Can
your
you
answer.
repeat the question just to make sure I had a full grasp?
Yes, of course. If you lose this special election, how will you continue to pursue the goals that you have spoken about on stage while not in office?
Okay. Well, some of my goals, they can be, achieved and worked with outside of this election. I plan on still continuing to try and be a voice for animal rights. I've been out of town for a little bit, so I haven't been able to work on that as much as I like, but I see some new animal rights laws coming in, and I hope we get further protection for that, and maybe working with the rangers as a business owner who works with pets. And, some of these I can't really accomplish outside of office other than, talking to the current representation. But I will try to at least work on community-based goals.
Thank you very much. Candidate Burton, the same question.
Yeah, in the event I don't win, and I started off this fully acknowledging that I may not carry some of the weight that these other individuals up here may have. I still end up going back to being State Representative Paxton's assistant. I'll still be in the room. I'll still be listening to the concerns of everyone at a state rep meeting, at a town hall. I'm still an attorney. I'll still be taking clients. I'll still be listening to their concerns. I'll still be filing paperwork and dockets on their behalf. I continue moving forward.
Thank you. Candidate Dracul, your answer.
If I don't get elected, it's not going to change what I've been doing already. In the background, I have been in long conversations with the representatives on many of the bills that have come through, voicing the concerns that I've heard from the fellow citizens, and making sure that the citizens are being heard and not being overlooked. That's not going to change how I do that. If anything, it's going to push me to do it even more and be in their way every single step of the that they take, and making sure that they are listening to the citizens and they are paying attention to what's happening around them.
All right, thank you for that answer. Candidate Knives.
Sorry, just to be clear, the question is how am I going to continue to complete these goals I have if I lose the election?
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll just keep doing what I do, baby. No, but for real, I've taken a step into a different direction with my life by running for this position. I honestly don't really think there's any going backwards from here, even if I do lose. I really agree with what Legend said. I'd probably work with the person maybe, or try to work with the person who wins, or just maybe still try to get into politics, maybe run in the next term. But I can still be a voice of the people. I can still stand up for change, regardless of being a state representative. But I definitely would be able to do a better job if I had the role. I don't know, if politics doesn't work out, maybe I'll go into the law, or maybe I'll do country music. Who knows?
All right, thank you. We will open the floor now for 3 minutes of question and debate between the candidates.
I, for one, would love to see a Conrad Knives country song.
I'll second that.
I'd have to second. Yeah, I'll third that.
Well, to stay on topic, actually, Wrangler, I got a question for you. You ran like a few times already. Why is it that you've kind of disappeared until election time? Like, what's up with that?
I actually had a felony on record during the last election.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't really argue that. And Candidate Burton, you basically mentioned how you're basically already you're already here, you're already doing stuff, you're already kind of helping out your state representative assistant. So by electing you as a state rep, people aren't really gaining much. So why should they vote for you over one of the four of us that can actually provide something new and actually extra, since you're already in the system helping anyway?
Well, the argument's going to be brought up that someone can always come in and do something new, and someone's going to make promises that they're going to enact change and reform. Again, I stand on the stance that I have a unique position being an assistant to the state rep. I've seen how these things go. I know how the conversations go. I know how the public reacts to bills that are put forward, whether they like them or if they don't. Losing this race, yes, I still have somewhat of a seat around the high table, but winning the position actually affords me a voice within that, outside of someone from the general public who comes up to issue a concern. I can then take those concerns and I can put them on paper. That's the difference.
I would ask that if that's the case, that you can put it on paper as the administrative assistant that you are now. Can't you not still do pretty much the same thing via your employer, Miss Paxton? Bring those concerns to her and allow her to put those on paper.
I very well could. Yes, I could just speak to Miss Paxton and bring her concerns that I've heard. But to be fair, I assist Miss Paxton. I follow her around. I take notes for her. Do I hear some other things and I pass it along? Of course. But within my role, I let the legislators legislate. Now, any other citizen here within the state obviously can go ahead and bring something to the legislators. They can go ahead and draft up something and put it through. There's no guarantee that it actually gets posted. As a legislator, you are the one doing the posting.
All right, we will be moving on to the next question then. This time we will be going left to right, so we will be starting with Mr. Knives. Do you have any prospective bills or initiatives in mind as a state representative? What would your first priority be upon entering office?
First priority. So, as a state representative, the first thing I would like to do is to review the CLAM Act. I'd also like to look at core legislation for the police that includes a use of force continuum and a requirement to identify themselves, but that's already been dealt with. So I'd probably take a look at the rest of our legislation, just try to find things like the Crime Crisis Act that could possibly maybe used too heavy-handedly sometimes. I'll be honest, I may not have much experience in writing legislation like my fellow candidate Burton here, but I can spot bullshit, and I'd be eager to apply that to our current library of legislation and just kind of see what's there and what maybe has been missed from different eyes.
Okay, thank you, candidate Dracul.
So mine focus primarily, and this is, police reform, but I'm not looking at like LSPD, I'm not looking at BCSO, I'm not looking at any of the major departments that are out there, because everybody is focusing so hard on them, trying to write bills, trying to get them to be, so spot on. It's not even funny. It's kind of a laugh right now. The people that are getting missed are the people that are getting thrown through this system that all this is are surrounding. I'm going to be looking at how they're being treated while they're going through this system. I'm going to be looking at seeing if there's any changes that we can possibly do to kind of assist them better on the turnaround. I'm going to be looking at DOC, Department of Corrections. That is my primary focus. Coming into this, I've heard people go, I've been put in with somebody that is a hardened criminal, and as soon as I got in, I got beat down right away. We need to protect people coming in and people going out. And right now that is being overlooked. So that is what I'm going to be focusing on, is helping those that are being put through the system right now.
Thank you. Candidate Burton.
Yeah. I think right now, my main focus, and it's something that's current, and I'm hoping we'll be seeing legislators soon here, especially with Emily Paxton putting it forward, some reworks to the Crime Crisis Act. I think there are some misapplications where it is not properly applied based on certain situations. And I think at times it is unfairly applied to individuals who really don't deserve to have some additional charges put their way. Now, I understand it's all broken down to interpretation, but I think further clarifications, better definitions, more examples that can help further codify how something is actually applied within legislatures specifically for that act. I think that would be a big focus.
Thank you very much. Candidate Wrangler, your answer.
Well, first and foremost, when I get into office, I want to focus on some achievable short-term goals. Those being, workplace safety, some type of legality for workplace safety and employee protections, ensuring safe places and safety in every spot that people in San Andreas can work. make sure, employees don't create or employers don't create unsafe working conditions and, working too long hours and, becoming, basically forced to work. I will eventually, hopefully, work on other things that, I want to accomplish, but are very difficult to accomplish, like some of the police accountability actions and things like that. But that's something I want to focus on right away. I want to get things done first and then try and work on the harder goals.
Thank you. Candidate Legend, your answer.
Just for the sake of things, can you restate the question?
Yes, of course. Do you have any prospective bills or initiatives in mind as a state representative? What would be your first project in office?
All right, as a first-time representative, I'm of the same mind that I don't really know how exactly to write a bill right off the bat, but my immediate project going into office would be sitting down with the legislative, executive, and judicial branches of our government to establish where the legislative power lies in its capacity to handle police affairs. The police being a state-employed agency, given power by the state, I need to sit down with these branches of our government to see where our power lies to initiate impactful change within those departments that isn't federally squashed. Upon achieving that, I hope to bring across my first piece of legislation being some form of transparency within all branches of the police that aren't federally empowered, such as the marshals, to disclose their internal disciplinary processes to ensure that IA reports as well as complaints, which are two different things for the citizens that didn't know that, please ask your departments, and see what we can do as far as making those publicly aware. That way the citizenry is aware that there is disciplinary action against police personnel that are going overboard with their actions.
Thank you very much. We will open the floor for 3 minutes of open debate between the candidates.
Actually, yeah, candidate Dracula, I gotta say, you say that your platform is police accountability and reform, and then you exclude all the police and just name the correction officers that work at the prison?
Because 90% of the corrections officers are actually police. Whether we like it or not, they are part of law enforcement. But with everybody focusing on LSPD and BCSO, state troopers, nobody's focusing on DOC. Nobody is looking at what happens to that person that may have been treated wrongly by, let's say, LSPD, and now has just gotten shoved into the system. Nobody's looking at what's happening to them. Nobody's looking at what's the treatment. Nobody's looking at if their conditions that are inside the Bolingbrook are, adequate. Nobody's looking at how people are being treated in the cells at the different stations. Everybody's saying, oh my gosh, somebody just ran me over, but what about how's that person who just got hauled in, how are they being treated?
Okay, yeah, I get that, Mr. Dracula. I get that. Sorry to cut you off. We only have 3 minutes here. Again, I think you are a little confused on your platform. Your platform then is not really police accountability. But what I would love to touch base on is last night an actual DOC employee kind of went off on you on Twitter and they kind of brought up a lot of great points and you didn't really respond to them. Would you like to say something to them now to officially respond to them on how they felt about how you feel?
So I'm going to put it this way. The DOC person in question, I found out is just an officer. In their remarks, they didn't read the statement that I had put out through Shout News. They then went to try to look at my record and then misspelled my name and never saw my record. So for them to go and say that I've never been in the system, they didn't look it up right. I have been in the system. And at the end of the day, let them say what they want to say. I don't need to have a dispute over a yeeter. That's not the forum. Here's the forum, and that's where that's going to end.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but you made it sound like you got jumped in prison and made a political platform out of it.
I never got jumped in prison. No.
Oh, okay.
Nope.
I really don't understand what your platform is anymore, Mr. Dracul, and I also don't think being condescending to just call him just an officer is probably the right ploy, but...
To say that I don't know what I've been talking about, and to mention the fact that there was no record, at the end of the day, his position is an officer. I'm not being condescending. I'm calling his rank out. He's just an officer of corrections. You know, he is a staff member there.
Also, Yeeter is a great place for public arguments.
Great place for tea.
I love yelling people on that.
Okay, I think we can all agree with that statement at least, as we are out of time. We will ask one more question in this format. So starting with Candidate Legend to Knives, and then with the open floor. After that, we will be opening the floor to questions from the public. The government is often overworked and understaffed. We've obviously talked a lot about police accountability and reform today, but the DOJ and the judiciary, as well as other departments, are obviously all a part of the great Gordian knot that is our government. As the government is often overworked and understaffed, as a prospective legislator, how would you offer support to other departments? And I believe we are beginning with Candidate Legend.
Well, as a legislator, the best thing I can offer is that I will do my best to support the other departments in my entirety. I will always maintain an open door policy. I'm not going anywhere anytime fast, as a lot of y'all can see. So a lot of my time will be probably spent in my office at City Hall. So I will do whatever I can from those confines to help where it's needed.
Thank you. Candidate Wrangler.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm less experienced in this field. The judiciary is not really my specialty. I would love to sit down and meet and see what they need to get some of these understaffed requirements, filled. Whether it be more job fairs or, more employee incentives. I'm not sure. I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and speak with these people, but I would love to help them in any capacity I can.
Thank you. Candidate Burton.
I think that fostering an open line of communication with both the Department of Justice and the judiciary is important. Being able to understand their concerns, being able to address them, helping them either create reform or something that drives a further interest to helping them grow and advance, whether it is through legislation or through just a conversation that may spark a different change in how one thinks. I think conversation is going to be the key primarily with addressing any concerns that the DOJ and the judiciary have at the forefront. From then on, we'll see where those conversations go and what needs to be enacted.
Thank you. Candidate Dracul.
Actually, I think Candidate Burton here summed it up pretty well. At the end of the day, we need to foster communication. And that's all I've got.
Thank you. Candidate Knives.
Yeah, so you're basically just going to hear, I guess, the same thing from all of us on this question here. The best thing we can do to help other departments is listen. I'm personally not going to make any promises on their behalf because I don't feel like it's helpful to use them as a prop on my campaign. However, I am someone who is always around and I'm willing to listen. I consider myself a hard worker, and I think after speaking to other departments and hearing their feedback, I would be able to help in some sort of way. Like my other opponents here have said, I do think the most important thing is to be prompt and to respond to those communications instead of trying to come up with my own solutions to problems that I honestly don't fully understand. So I'm going to actively seek input from these other departments. I'm going to talk with them because they are the front lines. Their insights are way more invaluable than mine. And with those proper channels, as Mr. Burton mentioned, that feedback, that communication, we can boost morale, create a more supportive work environment for everyone. And when you have that, you will have people that want to work with you and join that team.
Thank you very much. We will open the floor for 3 minutes of questions and debate, but since this was a more agreeable round, we'll see if we need the full 3 minutes.
I was going to say, if we start debating, it's kind of weird. We all just kind of agree with each other.
Yeah. I mean, we got slightly different viewpoints on how it's done, but you know.
I have to give you the floor. That's the format.
I
don't think we are gonna. I think
But,
we're good to go on to
I
the
think
next.
I think we're ending on an agreeable note for the questions prepared from beforehand. I will now start soliciting questions from the audience so that they can ask the representatives for this special election their own questions. Joanna, would you like to come first?
Thank you. Hello, everyone. First and foremost, thank you for running. Thank you. Having another person in Congress will definitely help everyone out, so I appreciate your time and your efforts. My question would be that the 9th Congress so far has made steps to address the topic of police accountability, as seen in Shout News in our legislative meeting notes. Knowing that legislators cannot just write a bill without collaboration with the departments they are about, and knowing that the governor is the head of the branch of government that directly oversees and communicates with law enforcement, what would be your actual plan to address this issue and get your legislation signed that has not been done before? As you know, outside oversight over internal affairs and complaints has been continuously condemned by both law enforcement command and from executive office, and so has the release of additional information regarding the taking of reports. So again, I know I said a bunch, but basically, what is your actual plan to address this issue? And this is for all candidates.
Conrad, do you want to go first?
Oh, wow, you're just going to call me out? I think you should go first with that.
All right. Like I, said before, communication, meaning sit down with everybody involved and actually have those long sit-downs, have those long meetings. They may not like it, but at the end of the day, talking through it all and getting each side to hear each other and then getting bills written out that every party can somewhat agree on is better than getting a department to say no and then throw everything out the window. Lack of communication is what destroys bills. So at the end of the day, long meetings, long sit-downs, just talking and hearing everybody out.
I will say that has been done before, but I appreciate your answer.
All right, well, I'll step in then. This has been tried and tested multiple times, multiple legislative bodies, multiple governors. I don't know the full scope of what has been tried. I know what has been tried this time, and through no fault of the current legislation, no success has been granted yet. I suppose the only thing I could say right now, something new that could be tried, is simply just a new voice. A new voice with fresh ears to try and address the concerns.
Thank you.
Aspects of what I'm about to say has been tried before, but I believe if the people have an idea of what they want out of a law, we get it together, we sit down with the department, let's say things aren't as agreeable, but it's in favor of the people. I believe the people have a right to both petition and even protest the government.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I feel like I would probably just say something similar to what Mr. Burton said there. We have legal experts in the field that are working with the police accountability, and they've been doing it for God knows how long and trying to fix stuff and what have you. And I think ultimately things that might have been tried in the past, maybe they were tried, maybe they weren't stuck to, maybe people gave up on, getting told no once. So I also don't know everything that's been tried, but I would love to review whatever has been tried and see what maybe you can take another shot at, and maybe just approach it in a different way, where we work with LEO High Command and we work as a team and actually come to an understanding that it would be better for just the overall perspective of it,
Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, I think I pretty much issued what I plan to do along these lines. For instance, in the last question, essentially having the sit down with the various branches of the government outside of PD to see where our power actually lies and the scope of which. Honestly, I'm in agreement with candidate Knives in that it seems like potentially it might have been multiple situations of once they were told no on one approach, it might have been dropped until the next Congress. They haven't met somebody as stubborn as I am. Where there's a will, there is a way. Where one approach fails, another one may not. And while I do not have the answer on how to do it at this exact moment, I am, if nothing, if not stubborn. So it's something that I will see through as best to my ability.
Thank you all for your answers and best of luck with the upcoming vote.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Representative Poole. We do have time for a few more questions from the audience.
Hello, candidates. Jacqueline May. I own up Plato Customs up in Paleto. My question is more directed towards Mr. Wrangler here. And I have it noted down here. So I've read your article and I've heard your speech. And you said you've helped Paleto gross tens of millions of dollars.
Yep.
If that was the case, why have you, when you're working in my business for the full year of 2023, only grossed about $6,000?
Huh. May I ask who you're getting that question from?
What do you mean, who am I getting my question from? It's from me.
Okay.
I'm the owner.
Okay, well, partially I was busy working at some of the other businesses.
Okay, does this also include the pet business that you rarely ever opened, or Mojito Inn that you've really ever worked at?
Let's see, the Paleto Pets, over the course of the winter, part of the reason it closed was because we closed for a winter because, one, pets are pet comfort, and two, we had a bit of business sabotage done by one of your partners, Yuri Devlin.
Okay. And when he offered to buy the business from you to care for the animals that you have kept locked up in that shop for God knows how many months, you, and this is probably coming out of your tens of millions of dollars of revenue, you wanted to sell it to him for $7.5 million.
Yes, that is correct.
How did you perceive that amount?
Part of that was inflated due to the fact that I didn't really want to sell it at the time.
Okay, but when offered the opportunity to have your pets continue to take care of and to make sure that, that business up in Paleto was continued to taken care of, you decided to turn into a petty thing and not, decide to turn it into greed instead of the care for the animals.
Well, no, that's not the case at all.
That sounds like that's the case.
This is the result of a whiny bitch who wanted to buy a business and couldn't handle being told no.
Well, that kind of answers my question. And again, and you even stated yourself, with your criminal record, I I wouldn't even trust you in any form of government, but that is what it is, especially, the way your defunct MC kind of fell apart. So
Thank you, Miss May, for
Thank
your
you.
questions. I believe we have a couple more people queued up. Mr. McKenzie from the Department of Commerce and Labor.
My name is Wyatt McKenzie. I am the Assistant Commissioner over at DOCL. I do have 3 questions real quick, but I'll make them really quick for everybody if that's okay. Or I can keep coming up, it doesn't matter. The first one is for candidate Dracul. Are you willing to disclose this evening if you have received any campaign donations from any businesses? I ask this because you're currently clocked into the Den as a business while you're here at the debate.
I have not gotten any business donation. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, yeah.
My second question is for all the candidates. So how should DOCL handle business owners or employees who are caught doing crime on the clock or at their business's premises?
I can start with that. I think dependent on the crime, I think it could be handled in stages. I think warnings could be given out if something is more severe. Maybe it is a forced requirement for that business to fire the employee, up to and including maybe suspension if the employee continues to do wrong or does something that is so incredibly heinous and the employer refuses to take action. Maybe even encourages it.
All right.
You basically already have procedures in place for that, correct?
We do have some procedures in place, yes.
Some procedures?
Yes, we're working on changing those or seeing how those could be adapted, which is why we're curious of your guys' input.
Well, if I'm elected, I would just love to sit down with you and talk it out with you and see what you guys think and how you feel, because you're honestly the experts in that field, and I think we should kind of go majority with what you probably feel, as long as it's reasonable and all the other legislators agree. I think we should just figure it out with you guys. Yeah,
definitely.
In my
yep, go ahead. Sorry, my bad.
In my experience, I've always been fine with the current requirements of that. I haven't personally experienced an issue, but I'd love to see where the current process's weak points are. If you'd like the opportunity to sit down with it,
I would love to sit down and discuss that more. Yeah.
For me, honestly, Conrad Knives here said the best. Sit down with you, talk about it, go over what you guys have as future positions on that, and then see what would work best, and then watch it actually happen and flourish.
Definitely. Cool.
I hate to be that guy, but I'm in agreement with everybody else.
I'll take it.
This is just one of those things that it's going to require the sit down and not something that we come up off the cuff of our hands and be beholden to.
Definitely. All right, and my final question for you all this evening. We've briefly discussed this idea with Representative Poole, but do you believe that we need specific legislation surrounding our nonprofit businesses? Do you have any rough, loose ideas about what that could look like?
Yeah. Do we have any right now? Sorry?
No, currently we do not.
Yeah, we definitely should probably look into getting something for that. It might not need to be heavy-handed, but there should be, like, if you're claiming you're non-profit and there's no legislation to make sure you uphold to that, then I definitely think that should be the case, because to be non-profit, you do need to fit a certain criteria, and literally people cannot be profiting. So people can be making money, but the corporation cannot be profiting in any sort of way. So yeah, we would need some sort of legislation. So you know what, that's actually, I didn't know that, and that is a good thing to look into probably sooner than later.
I agree.
Probably a good starting point to figure out what your existing concerns are right now and address those. I can only imagine some of them would be considering fraud. So I think having a good sit down just to see what your current mindset is right now would probably be the best path forward.
I do have to agree, yeah. Having a sit down with you guys, getting some sort of legislation in place so that way there's some guidelines, some rules, some protocols that have to be met would be better than having it be a free-for-all and having it being a wild, wild west out there with nonprofits. There's ample room without any kind of rules for people to, like the other two have said already, for fraud to happen. And we need to make it so that everybody's held accountable to the different regulations. We've already got regulations for businesses. Probably should get those for the nonprofits as well. But the only way we can do that is actually by, once again, sitting down with you guys and actually discussing it and figuring out a game plan that would work best for everybody.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions I had. Thank you all for discussing with me. I hope you all have a good rest of your evening.
You as well. Thank you.
Yep.
So this is a question for all the candidates. Earlier, you addressed the issue of the police and how the state is slowly spiraling into a police state. I do personally have seen it directly as a defense attorney in many different ways myself. With so many people in the past failing to not only pass legislative to control this, but seem to back down when things get rough, how can we as the citizens have confidence that you as the candidate won't fall to what many others have already?
I'd actually like to start this one, if you, my fellow candidates, don't mind.
Yeah, by all means, take it.
I think I kind of touched on this in my last point. I am stubborn. I am driven. Recent events have placed me in a position in life I thought I would never be, and that was due to an unfortunate circumstance with our law enforcement officials. Let's just put it this way. I am driven. I am stubborn. I will not see another individual potentially wheelchaired for life because of the indiscretions of one officer, and not see them held accountable for those actions.
I'll step up next. I think Mr. Legend here is correct. It's about having the mental fortitude to just kind of continue to push on, even if told no. Propose, what about this? What about that? Try to approach it from different angles. Address their concerns and try to find a good counter. But it's all about communication.
I'm gonna have to be in agreement with Jack here. You know, we have to communicate, and you know, having an answer of no is not always the right answer. It's okay if you say no, what about this? You keep going around and around until you get a yes. And sometimes it's not the right solution for that exact moment, but it could be a solution that is a stepping stone that gets you that yes that you need at the end of the day. And that is what we need to strive for. We need to strive for yeses, and we need to strive for that accountability to be there. And how we get there in the long run just needs to be with communication.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree and say we don't need to strive for yeses to answer this question, but we more need to be able to handle the no's. And as someone who has, worked his way up in the music industry and, became an international star, basically, it shows that I have tenacity, that I will not give up. I can't tell you how many times I've had people tell me no, people told me I wouldn't make it, people told me I would never be on a stage and making money doing it. And here I am. So it's handling the no's and knowing how to continue past that. And I am someone who knows how to be told no and to look you in the eyes and said, I'll get you to see yes eventually.
I'm not afraid to say what needs to be said. I'm a very stubborn person to get to back down. And I may not have the correct answer the first time, but I am going to keep going. I'm going to get there eventually. Or at least very much try to.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you to the public for putting forward those thoughtful questions. We will give each candidate 30 seconds just for a conclusion. And then we will do our final announcements and we will allow everyone to move on. So starting with candidate Knives, we will hear closing statements. Try to keep it approximately 30 seconds.
Gonna be honest, I don't want to bore you guys. I don't need 30 seconds. If I am elected, something I'll do completely separate from everything else I've already said I'll do is I will perform the duck song at the inauguration. Thank you.
Vote for a better tomorrow. That's it.
If elected, as I said at the beginning, I'm going to try my best for you. I will listen to your concerns. I will bring it all to legislation. We will meet on it. We will discuss it publicly with whoever wishes to attend. And we'll try to do our best to address all of your concerns.
Candidate Wrangler?
I'm here for the people and here to at least try for you. It's not an easy road, but I'm willing to take it if you're willing to let me.
And Candidate Legend?
Yeah. All I have to say is I have my motivations for running for office, but at the end of the day, for those of you here and those of you listening at home, I am your voice. I will be there for you with your concerns in our legislation. My door will be open and I will be available to speak with you. Thank you.
All right, that is the conclusion of our special election representative debate. Thank you to all of the candidates who showed up, as well as everyone out there in the audience who showed up, asked questions. Please make sure you go to the polls between the 15th and the 18th to vote for your candidate. We will be hearing the results of the elections on the night of the 18th. At an election results party. More details to come. Thank you again to Citadel and the law enforcement present for helping manage the security of the event. Thank you again to Jack Tallow at the Hanging Gardens for providing catering. Make sure you go and get something there if you haven't done so yet. Thank you to Weasel and Useless, the press outlets here helping to cover the event. And with that all done, hopefully you have a better idea of your special election candidates, and we will get this wrapped up because candidate Dracul has a shift at the den to go complete. Thank you so much, everyone.
Wow. All right.
Got 'em.
Thanks all.
Thank you for your time, moderator.
Yes. Thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.